Well, welcome back. A unanimous ruling yesterday. The Supreme Court siding with Twitter, saying that the social media site was not liable for radicalizing the terrorists' attacks of ISIS. The judge stating, quote, "It might be that bad actors like ISIS are able to use platforms like defendants for illegal and sometimes terrible ends, but the same could be said of cell phones, email, or the internet generally." Joining us right now is NetChoice Vice President and General Counsel, Professor of Internet Law at George Mason University Scalia Law School. Carl Szabo is here. Carl, good to see you. Your thoughts on this Supreme Court decision?
Yeah, Maria, thanks for having me on. This is not a big win for big tech. This is a big win for free speech on the internet. The Supreme Court had two cases before them, to review and eviscerate Section 230, eviscerate free speech on the internet. Instead, they did what we all expect them to do. They unanimously said that when a bad actor uses a tool to do bad things, it is the bad actor that is responsible, not the tool maker and not the tool. And that's really great for all of us because Section 230 empowers the type of alternative views that the mainstream doesn't want to talk about. Like, as you've talked about for this entire program, the Russia collusion hoax, or the fact that COVID probably came from a lab leak. Those are alternative views that are kept in place, that are empowered by the decision yesterday, and empowers free speech for all of us on the internet.
Well, Carl, you have a new op-ed out titled "Biden Administration is Giving Away America's AI Dominance." This is such an important issue. OpenAI launching the ChatGPT app on iPhones yesterday. I want to get your take on how this administration is giving away America's dominance. And we have to believe it's giving it away to China.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Maria. One of the things that we're seeing from this administration is an attempt to seize control of AI. AI is coming, and it's not a question of if, but where. So something that nobody's really talking about, a story that just broke this week, is that China, Wuhan University, empowered a satellite to operate independently on AI for 24 hours. So we already know what happens in China doesn't stay in China, and China is rushing to get ahead of the U.S. when it comes to AI innovation, and we cannot allow that to happen. We need to make sure that it happens here in the U.S., where it can be safe, secure, and three things that I always recommend is that industry should lead the way, as America always had, through transparency, accountability, and security. Make sure people know when AI is being used, keep it safe and secure, and hold it accountable for every single law in existence. Because at the end of the day, AI is the next innovation, and it should be done here in America, not by our foreign adversaries. And this administration needs to step back and stop trying to seize control of America's innovation.
You know, for years, China was just stealing it all, the intellectual property. I mean, I know that Secretary Pompeo told me that the reason that China is in such a high level and in arguably a lead in some of this technology is because they stole America and the West's intellectual property. But at this point, after all of the theft, they actually can come up with their own patents. They don't need to steal it anymore, but they're still continuing the intellectual theft, I am told.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what they can't make, they steal. And that's exactly what we're seeing. So right now we have ChatGPT. We have Google AI. Meta's jumping in with both feet. This is really exciting stuff because what it will do is it will free up time. And what we're talking about as well is the next major innovation for the next decade. And if our country continues to hamstring American innovation in the ways that we saw in Congress this past week, in the way that we're seeing from the Biden administration, if they try to inject diversity, equity, and inclusion into every single thing, including AI, we are going to leave ourselves way behind as China races ahead and becomes the world leader on AI.
Well, by the way, that's why Montana, the governor there, Greg Gianforte, signed new legislation prohibiting app stores from offering the Chinese-owned app TikTok. This is the first state that's actually banned TikTok. It'll take effect January of next year.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to bans, if the government wants to ban it on its own devices, go ahead. But the thing is, the use of the word ban, telling people what websites they can visit, what apps they can download, that is something that you do see in Beijing. We should not hear it here in Billings, in America.
Well, it's a good point. Carl, thank you so much. Good to talk with you about all of that. Carl Szabo, the next hour of Mornings with Maria begins right now. And the New York Times is calling out President Biden for cutting his international trip